Hi, this is Stephen, and this is Astro Indicator Update, Excursions into Practical Astrology, Episode 9. And today's date is July 7th. And here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at our moon void of course for the upcoming work week. Then we'll look at the Bitcoin price chart and some key Astro-Dates that I see approaching, and then we'll get into more detail on what's going on with Deutsche Bank and their astrology now and over the last 10-12 years or so. Okay, void of course moon, what's happening this week? Again, a void of course moon is the time period when the moon is transitioning from one astrological sign to another. Usually that only takes a few minutes, and it happens every 2.5 days. But occasionally it can take 24 hours to complete this transition. And in these longer void of course or VC moon periods, there is a shift in one's psychology, and it affects the collective, in my estimation. And there is a sense of disengagement, kind of a shifting into neutral, which on its own doesn't sound too significant. However, it does affect our ability to accomplish things, and historically, in the tradition of astrology, it is not a good time to start new projects or to engage in important business activity. Ideally, it's a time to rest and regroup and play and take a day off. But what happens if you have hours of a void of course moon in the middle of the week? Well, what you do is you reschedule these important events and you work around it. That's my advice. Avoid big decisions. Keep your wallet in your pocket. Don't buy your house or that new car during a VC moon period. And, reschedule important events. So this week we have a VC moon, void of course moon period beginning tomorrow. Is this tomorrow? No, this should be Tuesday. I made a mistake, but I'm not going to correct it. So it's July 9th, okay, which is Tuesday. So imagine that says Tuesday. So on Tuesday, July 9th, at 12:35 p.m., a void of course moon starts, and it lasts throughout the rest of the afternoon and in the evening. Then on Thursday, July 11th, at 5:30 p.m., it's essentially after work on the Pacific coast, we have another void of course moon that goes into the early hours of Friday. So we don't have real long VC periods, but we do have this one. Again, I'm sorry, but it's on Tuesday, July 9th in the afternoon, and these times are Pacific Daylight Time. So you're going to have to convert it if you live on the East Coast. So next, we're looking at Bitcoin and what's happening with Bitcoin. This is the chart of Bitcoin. The blue lines are support and resistance levels that I put in. Green lines are typical trending lines in technical analysis. It looks sort of like we've formed a large, flag pattern, possibly a declining wedge, and we're bumping up today on Sunday, bumping up against this green trend line, resistance area. Some of the other coins, Monero, things like that, have already broken through, and we have some kind of altcoins rallying. I wouldn't be surprised, just from a technical standpoint, if we see Bitcoin move above this blue line, this resistance level, we're going to get a rally. However, we have some strong Astro-Dates approaching. Look at my cursor down here, July 14th, 13th, 14th, in about a week. Historically, this is a bullish time period that I've indicated here. And I haven't, in this episode, I haven't put in gold or other markets, but it coincides with things that are happening in gold and silver And so I would say that we have, some bullish energy approaching in about a week. We may even get it sooner just from a technical breakthrough there. But we've worked off, if we look at our momentum indicators down here, we've worked off this overbought position. It's come down. If you look back at this level of the RSI back in history, when it's come down to this level, since we've been in a rally mode, we have seen the price move higher. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if it moves higher. This is not investment advice, but I just wanted to point out this date in about a week. And let's move on. Deutsche Bank. Now, I found this interesting. Big announcements in Deutsche Bank interesting, which I'll show you in a minute. But let's look at some history of Deutsche Bank. In the inner circle here is the founding date of Deutsche Bank, 1870, March 10th. Okay? Here's the Sun conjunct Mars in Pisces. We have a classic positive banking dynamic here in astrology with Pluto conjunct Jupiter. Very positive in Taurus. Okay? Big business banking. That's what that represents. This is a little bit more concerning. Here we have the identity of the bank conjunct Mars. This is a risk-taking operation. They tend to lean in that direction. On top of that, this Sun-Mars conjunction is in a trine with the planet Uranus. They tend to take risks into new ventures, new businesses, and to be attracted to innovative technologies, let's say, in their industry. But this is the outer ring here is 2004. We are in the heyday of the derivative implementation in the banking world. And Deutsche Bank was really at the top of the list in using derivatives and betting with credit default obligations and so forth. But what was going on in 2004? Well, something really stands out. In fact, in all these charts, things stand out with Deutsche Bank. Around 2004, we had the planet here. Look at my cursor. Planet Mars was opposite the moon in the chart. So that whole organization was emotionally tied up into this new type of investment, and their greed was getting the best of them. Greed is one term among many that you can use for a Pluto energy, but the greed was intense and they were diving into it. So Pluto opposite moon, that represents that. What should have been happening is that Saturn over here was transiting over the north node of that entity. They, the sense of responsibility of, for the future of their company, was there for them to respond to. They needed to be practical, and they weren't. Okay. In addition, the planet Uranus was transiting Vesta. Here we have Uranus right here. In 2004, it was transiting this asteroid Vesta, which is strong in the Deutsche Bank chart because it comes sort of after the sun here. I won't go into detail on that, but Vesta does, one meaning of Vesta is investments, okay? And here they were captured in a way by some new, innovative, high-tech vehicle, and that's represented by Uranus. Easy to see that, these symbols adding up to that. And so that was what was going on in 2004. The big thing was Pluto was opposite their moon. It was a slow-moving transit, and just the company got, just in over their head in derivatives. So let's move on. 2008, what's going on now? 4 years later, that Uranus transit has moved to be conjunct the Sun. Here you see it here. It's exact on the date that I used here, which was a October date in 2008. You see the Sun down here. So here are the planets in the outer ring, 2008, the same birth chart of Deutsche Bank in the middle. And now we have Uranus, which can mean frequently big surprises, big shocks, big changes are coming about to the identity, the Sun of this organization. Suddenly, things are not working out as they had planned. There are shocks to the system going on, and they are seeing reality, hit them. Not only that, is that they have that reality is also hitting their identity, with Saturn down here is opposite the Sun. So they're getting a double whammy here. They're getting a double whammy of sensing the restriction of their betting positions that they've got on and the dangers of it, plus they're understanding very clearly, the Uranus symbol, understanding very clearly that it could, is going to severely affect their organization. Then we have Pluto conjunct Saturn. Pluto's moved on. It is now conjunct Saturn. This is we got the two heavyweights in astrology working together. And this is a dire, death-like situation going on. And it's hit them in 2008. I'm sure they weren't sure how long they could last. So let's move ahead, see what's going on now. So here's just an article of what came out over the weekend. Deutsche Bank, as you know it, it is no more. As you know it is no more. DB exits equities in $8 billion overhaul to fire thousands. They're claiming they may fire as many as 20,000 people of a company that has something like 90,000. So this is just, they're just cutting everything to survive right now. So I headed this article above here, Neptune, disillusion or disillusion. And these are both key words that can sometimes come into play with a strong Neptune transit, okay? There are positive things about Neptune, but not with this history, okay? So here we are today. This is the chart, same inner chart of Deutsche Bank. Here the transits have moved. This is 2019. Today, Neptune is conjunct the Sun. Now we have Neptune right here conjunct the Sun, okay? And this is it just stationed about 2 weeks ago, very close to the Sun, and the impact of this energy and what it symbolizes is hitting it very strongly right now. And one of the key words for Neptune is dissolution, okay? Well, Neptune is now retrograde. It's going to be moving back away from the Sun here for a while. However, in 2020, see my cursor, it's going to be exact 3 times. So this is not going away, okay? This is not going away. In addition, we have other things that are challenging for, this is the big one, but Pluto is approaching the South Node. That's going to happen over the next couple years. Here's Pluto. South Node is sort of, past karma. Saturn, which helps us deal with reality, hopefully in a constructive way, is in a major dynamic with the Sun and Moon. So the transit of Saturn is right here, 17 degrees, 19 degrees, 18 degrees. So we get this kind of triangular energy dynamic between, key aspects of this organization, this entity, having to deal with reality, which is a Saturn symbol. In addition, we have Saturn opposite Uranus. Saturn right here transiting in the sky right now is opposite the natal Uranus of Deutsche Bank. So this is very telling. The whole business about getting involved with something, new, innovative, the whole derivative scene, back in the early 2000s, in the Deutsche Bank chart, to me, it was represented by this Uranus energy tied in with Pluto. And now the reality of all that involvement is coming home to roost, with Saturn dealing with the reality principle. Opposite Uranus, okay? Big potential for dissolution over the next year. So that's how I read it. It's sort of a sad case, but I think they even though people look at, Lehman Brothers and other, big banks as being representative of that time period, I mean, Deutsche Bank really could be the poster boy of, of that whole debacle. So anyway, that's it for today. My name is Stephen. I have an art psychology background. I've studied astrology for 40 years. I've applied it to various financial markets for many years. I am an advocate of hard money and cryptocurrencies. If you liked the video, please indicate that. Consider subscribing. Consider leaving me a comment or suggestions. And I do accept Bitcoin donations. So that's it for today. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.